Welcome back, basketball fans, to what is rapidly becoming the most chaotic, unpredictable, and frankly, mind-boggling offseason in recent NBA history. If you thought the league had run out of ways to surprise you, you might want to brace yourself. We are currently tracking two massive, franchise-altering storylines that are sending shockwaves from Los Angeles to Boston and everywhere in between. The trade market is absolutely on fire today, and it revolves around two of the most elite, enigmatic wing players of our generation. We're talking about two-time Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard and the reigning 2024 Finals MVP Jaylen Brown. The rumors are not just swirling. They are solidifying into some of the most unbelievable scenarios we have ever seen. Right now, widespread reports are indicating that Kawhi Leonard is heavily featured on the trading block, but with a massive, unprecedented catch. He is reportedly only willing to accept a trade to the San Antonio Spurs or the Toronto Raptors. Yes, you heard that correctly. The two franchises he famously departed are supposedly his only desired destinations. At the exact same time, absolute turmoil is leaking out of Massachusetts. After a catastrophic early playoff exit, the Boston Celtics are reportedly ready to sever ties with Jaylen Brown. And the most shocking part? Jaylen hasn't asked out. The Celtics, the very organization he helped carry to Banner 18, simply do not want him to come back. Today, we are diving deep into the madness. We are going to unpack the incredible irony of Kawhi's demands, the cold-blooded reality of Boston's betrayal, and exactly how these monumental trades could literally reshape the entire landscape of the National Basketball Association for the next decade. Let us begin by dissecting a narrative so dripping with historical irony that it feels like a movie script. Kawhi Anthony Leonard. The Claw. For the past 7 years, the Los Angeles Clippers have bent over backwards, mortgaged their entire future, and spent billions of dollars trying to build a championship empire around him. They moved heaven and earth to bring him and Paul George home to Southern California. But let's be brutally honest about the 213 era in Los Angeles. It has been a catastrophic disappointment. It has been defined by devastating injuries, load management, and agonizing playoff collapses. And now, facing the brutal financial penalties of the new collective bargaining agreement and a roster that is rapidly aging out of contention, the Clippers are staring down the barrel of a hard reset. Steve Ballmer is looking at his shiny new Intuit Dome and realizing the foundation of his team is completely crumbling. So, the idea of trading Kawhi Leonard makes logical, albeit painful, sense. But the absolute shocker here is the destination list. The San Antonio Spurs and the Toronto Raptors. Let's start with San Antonio. We all know the history. We all remember the ugly, toxic divorce in 2018. Kawhi was the chosen heir to Tim Duncan, a Finals MVP who was supposed to carry the silver and black for a generation. Instead, a mysterious quad injury, a total breakdown in trust with the medical staff, and a messy public standoff led to him demanding out. He burned that bridge to ash. Yet, here in 2026, time and circumstance might be the ultimate healers. Why would Kawhi want to go back? The answer is 7 feet, 4 inches tall, and goes by the name of Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs are the most terrifying young talent in the history of the sport, but they desperately lack a veteran, championship pedigree wing who can lock down the perimeter, hit contested shots in clutch, and take the pressure off their young alien. A lineup featuring Wembanyama and a healthy Kawhi Leonard is the stuff of offensive and defensive nightmares for the rest of the league. From the Clippers' side, dealing him to San Antonio could net them a massive return. We are talking about a package centered around Devin Vassell, multiple young assets, and unprotected draft capital that Los Angeles desperately needs to rebuild. It is a massive gamble for the Spurs, relying on a medical staff that Kawhi once completely alienated to manage his degenerative knees. But if it accelerates Wembanyama's timeline to immediate championship contention, Greg Popovich might just pull the trigger. And then there is the Great White North, the Toronto Raptors. In 2019, Kawhi arrived in Canada as a one-year rental, delivered one of the most legendary individual playoff runs in NBA history, hit the most iconic shot in franchise history against Philadelphia, won them their first ever championship, and then promptly left for Los Angeles. He is a literal deity in Toronto. The idea of him returning to the Scotiabank Arena is enough to send the entire country into a frenzy. Masai Ujiri is still running the show, and he is a mastermind who isn't afraid of a massive gamble. The Raptors have a brilliant young star in Scotty Barnes, but they are trapped in the middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference. They need an alpha. They need a closer. Bringing Kawhi back instantly makes them a threat. But to make the math work, the Raptors would have to gut their depth. They would likely have to part with R.J. Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, and serious draft picks. It begs the question, does adding a 35-year-old, injury-prone superstar to a young core actually make sense, or is it just a pure nostalgia play? Either way, the fact that Kawhi is reportedly circling these two franchises is a stunning admission that his Los Angeles dream has officially turned into a nightmare. While the West Coast is dealing with the ghosts of Kawhi's past, the East Coast is dealing with a present-day betrayal of epic proportions. We have to talk about Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics. The phrase "it is just business" is thrown around a lot in professional sports, but what is happening in Boston right now is utterly ruthless. Jaylen Brown is not just a piece of the puzzle. He was a Finals MVP. He was a driving force, alongside Jayson Tatum, that finally ended the championship drought and secured banner 18. Brad Stevens gave him the richest contract in NBA history at the time, preaching loyalty, family, and a long-term vision. But the moment the Celtics hit a bump in the road, a humiliating early playoff exit this past season, that loyalty completely evaporated. When the opportunity to potentially acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo presented itself, the Boston front office didn't hesitate to put their Finals MVP on the trading block. They dangled Jaylen Brown like a shiny piece of bait. The trade didn't happen, but you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. You cannot look a proud, elite competitor in the eye, tell him he is indispensable, and then actively try to ship him out of town the first chance you get. The trust is entirely gone. And the most damning detail emerging from the insiders is that Jaylen Brown did not ask for this. He didn't demand a trade. He didn't complain about playing second fiddle to Jayson Tatum's media spotlight. The Celtics, simply put, do not want him to come back. They are looking at their ballooning payroll, the punishing luxury tax aprons, and deciding that keeping both Tatum and Brown is no longer viable. So, where's a 29-year-old elite two-way superstar in his absolute prime land? The Houston Rockets and the New Orleans Pelicans are emerging as the heavy frontrunners, and both destinations offer incredibly fascinating scenarios. Imagine Jaylen Brown in Houston. The Rockets have been accumulating incredible young talent for years. Alperen Sengun is a rising star, but they lack that definitive, proven, championship-level closer. If Jaylen goes to Houston, he finally gets the keys to the franchise. He steps out of Jayson Tatum's shadow completely. He becomes the undisputed number one option on a team ready to make a massive leap in the Western Conference. A trade package of Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and draft picks would give the Celtics the financial flexibility and young assets they crave, while giving Houston their superstar. Or consider the New Orleans Pelicans, a franchise desperate to break through, armed with a war chest of assets. A swap involving Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, and picks for Jaylen Brown completely transforms the Pelican ceiling. Jaylen brings a level of toughness, defensive intensity, and big game experience that New Orleans desperately needs. For Jaylen Brown, this isn't just a trade. It is an unchaining. It is the ultimate opportunity to prove that he is not just a luxury co-star, but an MVP-caliber talent who can carry an organization on his back. For the Celtics, it is an astronomical risk. If they trade the man who brought them a title and fail to win another one while he flourishes elsewhere, Brad Stevens will never hear the end of it. It will go down as a historic blunder. What we are witnessing right now is the absolute peak of the modern NBA's cutthroat reality. The era of the one-team superstar is on life support. We are seeing a veteran in Kawhi Leonard trying to reclaim the magic of his past because his manufactured super team present has failed. And we are seeing a franchise in Boston cast aside their homegrown hero the second the financial math gets too complicated. The romanticism of loyalty in basketball has been replaced by cold, hard asset management. The ripples of these potential trades will be felt for years to come. If Kawhi goes to San Antonio, the Spurs instantly become a terrifying playoff contender. If he goes to Toronto, the East gets turned completely upside down. If Boston trades Jaylen Brown, They are placing the entirety of their championship hopes squarely on the shoulders of Jason Tatum alone, while simultaneously creating a new powerhouse wherever Brown lands. The dominoes are stacked, the phones are ringing, and we are quite literally just waiting for the explosion. I want to know exactly what you guys are thinking about this absolute madness. Drop down into the comment section right now and let me hear your takes. Spurs fans, I need your honest opinion. Can you forgive Kawhi for how he left? Would you welcome him back if it meant an instant championship push with Wembanyama, or is the bridge burned forever? Celtics fans, how are you feeling about Brad Stevens right now? Is it a brilliant financial move to trade Jaylen Brown, or is it a massive betrayal of the player who brought you Banner 18? Give me your best trade packages, your hottest takes, and tell me where you think these two superstars are playing on opening night. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications. The second any of these blockbuster deals become official, I will be right here breaking down every single detail. Thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you in the next one.